The play on the field, the courts, and the ice is just one part of sports. Behind every game are the people hard at work so we can enjoy the action. They're the owners, administrators, agents, broadcasters, and promoters who bring the games to life. Meet them when you go behind the game with Patrick Klinger and Bill Robertson. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Game. I'm Patrick Klinger, the president of Agile Marketing Partners. With me, as always, my co-host, a man who once hit for the cycle in a backyard wiffle ball game, the commissioner of the Western Collegiate Hockey Association, Bill Robertson. Good afternoon, Billy Rob.
Thanks, Patrick. Hope everyone's doing well, and including yourself and your family. What a treat we're in for today. Our special guests, and I use that in the plural sense, on Behind the Game, are two of the most respected senior sports executives in Minnesota and in the professional sports realm. We are in for a real treat today, in my opinion. First off, Jeff Munneke, who is the longest tenured employee in the history of the Minnesota Timberwolves, dating back to 1988. Jeff is vice president of fan experience for the organization. He is someone who has seen it all in the NBA. And in Minnesota circles, he is a basketball aficionado. He has seen it all from Marvin Harv to Bill Musselman to Kevin Garnett to Ryan Saunders, and then some. Our other guest is J.P. Paul, who's in his 18th year with the Minnesota Vikings and serves as vice president of fan development and guest relations. J.P. has played a significant role in the Vikings' relationship with the fabulous U.S. Bank Stadium. The key to all this today, Patrick, is both these gentlemen are well-versed in customer care and service at the highest levels in the world of sports. We welcome both Jeff Munneke and J.P. Paul to Behind the Game. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, guys. Good to be with you guys.
Thanks for having us.
We're going to rotate these questions with you, and you can answer them as best you can. And we're going to start with this first question, and Jeff, we'll start with you on this. Fans are the lifeline of professional sports teams and are so crucial to financial and long-term success in the sports industry as a whole. The pandemic that we have faced this year and the uncertainty in 2020 has hit everyone in so many dramatic ways. Most notably that fans aren't allowed to attend games or in very limited numbers. And in the state of Minnesota, I believe the number is 250. How has that changed your job at the Timberwolves as you're currently dealing in your area of expertise, Jeff?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. And JP, myself, and the rest of the teams here in the marketplace have been meeting every week for months now. And JP and the Vikings and US Bank are going through it right now with their home games. The Twins have obviously been through it. The Gophers have started to go through it. United FC started to go through it. We're up next, and here we go. And so we were thrown a little bit of a curveball this last week where I think we had all been under the assumption that perhaps we could be starting in January, February, or March. Well, it looks like Christmas. Here we come. So the NBA wants to get these games on the holidays, obviously, and that's a huge part of the NBA platform for the year. And so it looks like we're going to be starting on December 22nd. So that's 5 weeks. So we've been in overdrive now the last couple of days in Zoom chats and actually done a couple visits inside of Target Center, getting ready to engage back with our fans, what fans we may have. So as JP will take you through, it appears as of today, it looks like we'll have, at least to start the season, about 250 fans inside the building. So it's not ideal. It's not what we want to have. All of us want to have all of our fans back engaging with the team inside of our venues, but we'll take it. And we want the games to get back, and this is the start to it. So in the meantime, however, we've figured out different ways to engage with our season ticket members and fans. Like all of us, you're in hundreds of Zoom chats since COVID started, just trying to engage through social media, different platforms where they can hear from some of our executives, perhaps for us as we prepare for the draft here in a couple of weeks, and just opportunities to connect back to our fans and just let them know we're going to be okay. Can't wait to see you. And it looks like we'll be seeing at least some of the fans here in December.
Yeah, from our side, guys, we were kind of hoping we'd be able to learn from what the Twins did, right? Back in March when we all went home, we were thinking, hey, we're gonna see how the Twins do this, and hopefully by the time we get to August in preseason football, we'll kind of be back to normal. And obviously that didn't pan out. And really for us, the off season, everybody thinks it's kind of a downtime, but when you look at our draft party that we typically do at US Bank Stadium, you look at our training camp, which we moved to TCO Performance Center a couple of years ago. Those are two of our largest fan engagement opportunities during the course of the year. So we really had to be creative, like Jeff said. What are ways we can engage these fans? What are ways we can keep them involved and be part of our brand and try and find some unique ways to bring them together, maybe give them some content or give them some behind the scenes things that maybe they haven't seen. And, for our draft party, one of the things we did was we were able to get people like Chad Greenway, Jared Allen, some of our great alumni players, and then some of our great fans, Josh Dumel, and other folks like that are Vikings fans. We were able to gather all them on a virtual draft party where we had them kind of in a Zoom call like this. And you guys know, when you get players together, you get alumni guys together, and they start talking about old stories and things like that, the hosts just kind of back off, right, and let the conversation go. And these guys will entertain people for hours. So we've tried to do that whenever we could over the course of the last few months. And then, as far as bringing people back into the building, we've worked really hard with the state of Minnesota to figure out ways that we may be able to bring some people back in. Unfortunately, things aren't panning out for us like that right now, but we've actually used the 250 people that we're allowed to bring into the building to just kind of run some operational tests, bring our players and coaches' families into the game, so at least they get an opportunity to be there on game day. And we're just excited at this point now to kind of go through the rest of the season and really start to look ahead to 2021 as to how Jeff and how the Minnesota Wild are going to do things, the Wolves and the Wild as they approach their seasons, see how the Twins, what they can do in the spring, and then hopefully, by the time we get to our draft party and some of those events, I don't think we'll be back to normal. We'll be a lot closer to normal.
Well, gentlemen, first of all, I want to welcome you to the show. We've been friends for a long time, and I will tell you, you look much better on Zoom than you do in person.
Hey, Patrick, I just noticed that our Brady Bunch Zoom chat here, the top panel, we all have cheaters on. Yeah. What in the world? And JP hasn't gone that way yet. What in the world's going on here?
They're right there, Mune. I got them.
All right. I feel better now. That's 4 for 4.
Hey guys, through the first quarter of the NFL season, the TV ratings are not a pretty sight. They're down about 10%. Ratings for the NBA down significantly. Same with the NHL. World Series saw record low viewership. Is this just a blip on the radar? Is it the election? Is it the pandemic? Or is this really a reason to be concerned about the future of sports?
That's an interesting question. Obviously, we're all watching that very closely. And, what a strange year, though, too. As COVID hit in March, we're 3/4 of the way through the season. We didn't quite get the regular season done until we went to the bubble. So then, for us on the NBA and WNBA side, we're playing when we abnormally would not be playing. And so right in the middle of baseball, as football's getting ready to go, college football is normally getting ready to go. You have the election on top of it, like you said, Patrick. So there's a lot of factors. I think we as franchises and leagues don't want to give that as an excuse. There's a lot of ways people consume the sport now through social media, all the streaming opportunities. So I think the normal way that people register ratings has just changed as well. And people are consuming it many different ways. I was looking at some data here a couple of weeks back and just looking at the number of Twitter followers and Instagram followers and Snapchat followers that all of our athletes have. I mean, it's unbelievable the way these athletes now engage and kind of write their own stories. So the way that perhaps we've done things in the past and the way we consume things in the past, that's certainly changed. The metrics probably have to change a little bit on how we all consume, but no doubt it's a concern. I'm not sure if there's any sport that was up, except I believe for the WNBA. The WNBA, I think, was slightly up in their ratings, but everybody else has been down. And obviously just a crazy year, and you throw in the elections on top of it, and hopefully we'll all get back to normal, but something we're keeping an eye on, no doubt.
Yeah, I agree with me and Patrick. I think there's flat out just a lot going on right now for the last 6 months, right? I think people's minds are in different places. I think people are spending a lot of time with content. I think Jeff's point about content, consuming content in other areas is right on. And I'll give you a great example. I have three teenage sons, and I sit down on Sundays when we're on the road, and I sit and I start to watch a game with them, and they're watching Red Zone, and that game where I'm starting to get into cuts away. Oh, there he goes. Cuts away to another game, right? And I just see the younger demographic. You know, like I said, I've got a perfect example of it here at home. They're watching Red Zone right now, and they're still consuming, but that doesn't show up with CBS and Fox on Sundays, right? So I think it's just different in how we all did it growing up, right? We had Sunday night, baseball or Monday night baseball, and we had a lot less options than they have now.
Gentlemen, do you think that there may be a reset for professional sports where salaries, ticket prices, and corporate sponsorship levels off or even drop, affecting the changing, or I should say reflecting the changing behaviors and interest of the common sports fan?
Another awesome question. These are tough, so yes and yes. However, there is just the fact that, we're in a situation where we have athletes and we have revenue projections that we have to pay back out based on salary cap and those type of things where that's probably not going to change a whole lot. So what we have to do is be creative. Yeah. And I think one of the things that we all look for is, how do we have something for everybody? How do we have something no matter what your time is, how far you are from the stadium, how you consume the sport? We want to have something for everybody. So if there's opportunities through the social platforms that we just referenced, or TV opportunities inside the arena, certainly you have your seats that, at least for the NBA, are much more expensive as you get closer to the floor, just because that's such a premium experience. But we also want to have seats that are affordable in the lower level corners, perhaps, or 200 level, where maybe the economics aren't quite the same as sitting courtside. So I think we as teams have to be creative with that. It's kind of interesting if you think about the revenue streams that end up paying back the players. A large percentage of that comes from the first 10 rows of the court, at least for the NBA. And I'm assuming JP can answer on the NFL side. But at the same point, you have a lot of longtime fans and longtime guests of ours that are more than willing to sit in the 200 level and want to sit in the 200 level based on relationships, or that's the economics that they have. So I think we have to continue to exercise some creativity there.
Yeah, and I think the different opportunities that folks have, I think, is exactly right, Jeff. I mean, when we looked at how we priced out US Bank Stadium, we have so many different price levels, right? Because we wanted to make sure that we could get everybody that wanted to be in the building on a game day, and the different varieties of the experience also matter, obviously, right? And we have to continue to build that. Our club seat, I work a lot on food and beverage, and we spend a ton of time on how do we really drive value to the ticket price of that club seat, right? Or how do we really drive value for somebody who's sitting on the 50-yard line? And the prices they are elevated right now, and I think we have to just be creative, like Jeff said. What can we do from a food and beverage standpoint? What can we do from in-game experience? The one thing I'll say in coming to US Bank Stadium versus the Metrodome is, I think we've created such a feeling of community on game days in our building, with our Skull Chant and with our Gallarhorn. I think people are really feeling like this is a community event that they want to be at on game day. And I do think that helps them kind of bring that pricing level a little bit, make it more comfortable that they're part of that, right?
Yeah, I just add back again too, it's the kind of feeling of belonging, a feeling of a neighborhood, whether that's the people you sit by or how you consume it. And again, it's a situation where you look, and one of the conversations we all have had is somebody might say, "Oh my goodness, you shouldn't have paid this player this much." But at the same time, they're sending out a tweet just said, "They better re-sign that guy." and so once they re-sign, they're kind of like, wait a minute, that's too much. I don't want to spend that much, but you got to have that player. And so you have a lot of those discussions as well. As obviously you need talent to win. You have to coach them up. And then once we have a player, certainly in Minnesota, we want to keep our players, and sometimes that's hard to do, when there's option to play in Phoenix or California or Florida, that type of thing too. So, we're very lucky that appears, at least for us, for right now, we have two guys that we're going to build around for a long time that are locked into long-term deals.
Hey guys, you've both been in the business for a long time. How has the fan experience changed since you got into sports?
JP, why don't you start with that one?
Yeah, mine's changed quite a bit, Patrick. Going from the Metrodome to TCF Bank Stadium, obviously to US Bank Stadium. I think just the level of expectation of the consumer has changed, right? They're there to see sports, but they're there to enjoy good food, right? They're there to Jeff's point, they're there to be part of the community. People, I can't tell you how many people we talk to that are so excited about the fact that when they get to a game on Sunday or Monday night or whatever it might be, they get to see Joe and Jim and Sally and Susie sitting next to them, right? That's their one time every once or 2 weeks that they get together with and see those people and share that passion. Again, I mentioned food service. From a food service standpoint, we went from being very remedial in our food service offerings to elevating that at US Bank Stadium. And frankly, I think what we're going to see coming out of the COVID pandemic is a whole different environment for food service, right? What does that menu look like? What does that serving vessel look like? And really, what does the transaction look like, right? Is it cashless? Is it contactless? Can it be delivered to my seat? The idea of a hamburger or hot dog wrapped up in aluminum foil and handed to you, that's not acceptable anymore. You've got to make the presentation look nice. We should have a lot of different offerings, right? It's a big craft beer market, right? We want to have a lot of craft beer variety in our building. We want to have a lot of different food varieties. So just those two areas where I think there's a lot more sense of community maybe than there used to be. And then the idea of food service and just overall entertainment, that level of expectation has increased a ton from when I first started with the Vikings in 2003.
Yeah, I just add on top of that, and JP and the staff do an awesome job over at US Bank. We had a pleasure of going over there and spending some time with them just to get their ideas and thoughts on how they welcome their fans back here a couple weeks back, and they just do an awesome job. And I think one of the things that we're all faced with was when the four of us first started, there wasn't cell phones, there wasn't social media, there wasn't even computers for my first couple of years anyway, which is pretty amazing if you think about it. That's how old I am. But at the same point, what that's done is think of the marketplace we live in. I mean, what a great place to live. We have everything. We have football, hockey, soccer, basketball, Big Ten, theater, arts. We have everything here in this incredible marketplace, but it's super crowded. So you have to deliver the goods as far as the experience is concerned. And if you don't treat people well, it's pretty easy to just say, win or lose, I wasn't treated very good in that venue tonight, so I'm going to go give my money and my time to the next option. So that's something that we always talk about, is just that, look, I can't go make baskets. I can't go make coaching decisions. I can't go play defense, but I can control how I treat people. And so that goes back to what we talked about. And I think the Vikings and US Bank do a tremendous job. I'd like to think we're okay too, that when you come in, it's how you're treated. How are you greeted? What happens when you come to your seat? What happens during the food story that JP referenced, which is a big part of all of our venues now. And it's kind of the country club mentality where when we all started, it's kind of the end of the season, you kind of all take a deep breath and say, okay, let's let everybody alone for a while. Well, that no longer is workable. You have to be connected some way, somehow, 365, 24/7. So even though we might not be in season, we still have to connect and engage. And that's the fun part about it too, because you get to build even more meaningful relationships from it.
Yeah, and let me, if I can just real quick, Rob, add one piece to what Jeff said. He talked about engaging with the fans. One thing that he and I both spend a lot of time on is engaging with the staff, the game day staff, right? And that's where I think things have changed a lot over the last number of years, as well as, there is a huge effort right now by teams across every league and every sport to make sure that you're taking care of your game day staff. Because if you're not taking care of your game day staff, they're not taking care of your fans. And that's a huge disconnect. As Jeff mentioned, we've got to be engaged with our fans, but taking care of that game day staff, engaging with them, making them realize they're important, having a rewards and recognition program. Every business should do that. But in a business that's customer facing and you're counting on part-time staff and third-party staff to represent your brand, you really got to make that effort to take care of those folks as well.
Well, I would say this for both of you, JP and Mun, having known you guys for many years, like Patrick, you two both have your hands on the pulse of what is going on in the marketplace and with your fans, and you both have done incredible jobs. I want to make sure I say that publicly to both of you, and I mean that. And I think what you're trying to do for your fans is even more incredible. But I have a question for both of you in regards to social media. And as Jeff had said earlier, we didn't grow up with social media. There wasn't that. There weren't even computers when we first started. But I want to ask, how much interaction do both of you have with social media? Are you following the trends closely of what your fans are saying about you, or do you have other people that in your organization who you prefer to follow it? I'm not talking from the media perspective as much as just totally from a fan perspective. JP, you start.
Yeah, let me go first on this one, because Jeff and I are the yin and the yang of social media. I mean, let's be honest here. Jeff's got it, and I'll answer your question, Bill, but Jeff's got a tremendous social media following, super creative in what he does. I just said to myself about a week ago, I'm like, I better start getting on my LinkedIn account and my Twitter here, and all my 35 followers or whatever. I need to get to Jeff's level. But from a how we kind of track things, or how we follow our fan experience, yeah, we do have folks that on game day are monitoring our Twitter feeds. They're monitoring US Bank Stadium, any of that kind of feedback that we can gather and get back, even in real time. We do a lot of real time stuff. If we know somebody on a game day has, put a picture on their Twitter feed and it says they had a bad hot dog or a bad hamburger or something like that, and we can get to them during the game, we make every effort we can to do that. So that's an important piece of what we do. And I'll let kind of Jeff talk about the wonder that is following Jeff Munneke on Twitter.
Well, so Billy Rob, as you know, we like to have a lot of fun. And so I've just kind of looked at this as I had some advice from someone that was kind of a social media guru way back in the day. And what they suggested, they told me Facebook wasn't even Facebook yet. MySpace was out there. And he just said, you got to get on this thing called Facebook. He said, with all the things you talk about and do, it's a great way to connect to your fans and season ticket members. I'm like, what's Facebook? That's how long ago this started. And so the same thing happened. He talked to me a couple of years later. He says, you got to get on Twitter. And I'm kind of like, what's Twitter? Tell me, what do I need to do? So he just said, be yourself. He says, don't do anything crazy. He says, but have fun, show your personality. And he said, it'll become a great tool for you in how you engage with your fans. And so that's that's the way I've really tried to do it is, I might throw out a thought for the day, or I might throw out a photo, but in the end run, what I'm trying to do is collect followers that all will engage back regarding the Timberwolves and the Lynx is what I'm trying to do. So we have a lot of fun with that. We have, like all of us, we have social media teams now that maybe as much as only several years ago was one person departments. Now they're 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people departments, the way it's gone. So we just see it as it's such a great opportunity to engage with our fans very, very quickly. Like JP said, we got a chance to watch the way they do it in US Bank and the number of TV monitors and people that are watching for things that happen during the game night. I mean, that's tremendous. So they can affect it right there. They can stop it right there. Or even if there's something great, can just say, wow, let's do more of this. So I think we'd all say that if we can be a problem solver right there on the spot versus letting somebody walk out of your building and 2 days later send in some hate mail saying what a bad experience it was, you can change a lot of opinion right there. So it's a full circle thing. I mean, I'm on all these things, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all these different things. And I have fun with it, but we also have fun because it engages back our fans.
Billy, you're a big Snapchat guy, right?
I had Billy Rob as a TikTok guy.
TikTok. Hey, guys,
TikTok guy.
this half hour has gone by way too fast. This is probably our last question, but tell me how, obviously we have not had fans in sports venues since March. When fans are allowed back to ballparks and arenas and stadiums, how do you think the fan experience will be changed?
Oh man, that's such a good question. And JP and I, we host a weekly session with all the venues and teams in town, and we've kind of thrown that out of just normal things like, is the normal handshake, is that going to be obsolete? Is a normal hug, is that going to be obsolete? You think about interaction with players. The Vikings have their field level passes. We have our pregame shoot-arounds. Are fans ever going to be allowed, at least probably not for the immediate future, to get down close, which is disappointing because we want our fans to engage and have that opportunity to see our players close up. So I'll let JP finish this off because I know we're getting short on time, but I think for the short-term future, a lot has to change. But hopefully the long-term, once we get the vaccine, we're back to shaking hands and hugging each other again.
Yeah, I think the key, Patrick, is we just got to make it fun, right? I mean, our goal in coming to bringing people to US Bank Stadium is take their mind off what's going on for 3 hours, right? Same thing with Jeff and the crew is. So we're going to look at ways as how do we make it fun? How do we make it as normal as possible? Because some of these protocols are still going to be in place. So we're really going to work on what can we do to make it fun for everybody.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining Bill Robertson and me on Behind the Game today. Billy, always great to see you. But Jeff Munneke, J.P. Paul, it's been a pleasure and a privilege. Thanks for making the time. And thank you all for watching Behind the Game. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome to see you guys.